So a very good ball game as far as the offense goes, and the pitching was pretty good too. Happ 5 innings, 2 runs, good enough for the win. Then they pieced together after that. Ottavino 1 inning, no runs. Canley 1 inning, gave up a run. Britton 1 inning, no runs. Chapman 1 inning, no runs, and the save. So you piece together a win, you go 5, and you get the rest with your top flight relievers, and you have yourself a 6-3 win. Home run from Maben, like I mentioned, who has been on fire. He's been a very underrated pickup, and he's slowly becoming a favorite amongst fans. Now, I know today's game isn't over. It's currently the top of the 8th. Yankees are leading this ball game 12-1. Looks like it's just about this game is about as over can be. So I'll break down this game too. Let's just say the ball game. I'll break down the ball game to this point. LeMahieu had 2 hits. Both of them came in the first, actually. Gary Sanchez has 2 hits. Encarnacion has a hit. Torres, Urshela, and Gardner all have 1 hit apiece. So the offense has really been there. Timely hits. Gary had a big 3-run home run in the first inning. Like I mentioned before, Glaber had a grand slam to give the Yankees a 12-1 lead. And the real MVP of this game, I'd say, is probably CC Sabathia, though. CC Sabathia, with 6 innings, gave 3 hits, and struck out 7, and gave up 1 earned run. He really pitches hard out. He was the big man who comes in and stops offenses and shuts down good teams. And he was facing a pretty good pitcher today in Blake Snell, who only got 1 out. Blake Snell, the reigning Cy Young Award winner, only got 1 out. So, and it wasn't because of injury. It wasn't. Because Gary hit a home run off him, and then he ended up walking a few batters, and it was an ugly sight. If Snell would have stayed in the game, the deficit may have been even larger for the Rays. So it was smart for Kevin Cash to take him out of the game. So a 12-1 lead at this point. Sabathia, like I mentioned, pitched great. Holder pitched a scoreless inning, and now they have Sessa, who has 1 out in the 8th. So I'll give updates as the game continues. But this series has really been indicative of what the Yankees do. They play good teams, and they beat good teams because they're a better team. They've really taken the wind out of the Rays' sails. The Rays were a half game out of first place before the series began, and now they're 2.5 back. And once this game's over, they'll be 3.5 back, and that's the biggest lead I've had in a while. So they needed to win this series against the Rays to make a statement and really prove that they are the better team, and they have done that in spades. I mean, a shutdown game in Game 1, a comeback win in Game 2 to prove that they are never out of a game, and a laugher of a ball game here. They've beaten them in every conceivable way possible, and they really just don't fear anybody. They have no fear as Sessa strikes out Avisail Garcia for the second out of the 8th inning. They really don't fear anybody. They don't fear them. They don't fear any good team. They don't fear the Red Sox. They won that series. They don't fear the Rays. Clearly, they're going to sweep this series. They won last series against the Rays back in May. Another series against the Rays they won as well. They don't fear the Twins, who had the best record in the American League, who they beat in early May. So they don't fear them. They really don't fear any good team. The only good team the Yankees have really lost to this season has been they lost a series to the Indians in Cleveland, 2-1, and they were swept by the Astros in early April when all the injuries were really taking form and this team was kind of reeling before they found a groove with the backups and some returning ball players. So every good team they've played, aside from the Astros, they've beaten. They've beaten good teams. They've played good teams. And this team has not even had an A lineup for 90% of the season. And Sessa strikes out the last right hitter of the inning, and the Yankees will go to the bottom of the 8th, still up 12-1. So it's this team really proves time and time again that they are the best team, at least the American League East, at least, because they have no fear. They had no fear. They don't panic, and they work counts. They get base hits. The addition of DJ LeMahieu was huge because that is the antithesis of Yankee baseball. When you think of the Yankees, you think of guys like Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris, your big homer hitters, right? DJ LeMahieu, yes, has 8 home runs, but also he's going to bat like 320. Right now he's batting 315. He's not going to strike out. Every Yankee strikes out. Judge and Stanton strike out a lot. He doesn't. And it's added a balance to this lineup and this team that they didn't have before. It's added a aspect of stability. DJ LeMahieu is batting .460. That's not a typo. That's not me messing up. No, I'm being honest. He is batting .460 with runners in scoring position, and 2 outs, I believe. It's either him and it's either with runners in scoring position or runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Regardless, a .460 batting average, and producing runs like that, at a clip like that leads baseball, Major League Baseball. Because he just refuses to strike out. He puts a bat on ball, and when you put a bat on ball, good things happen. And it's proven. It's shown. DJ LeMahieu has been a huge catalyst for this team's winning, and he really proves that he really rounds out this lineup and this team. And without him, I don't know if he'd be anywhere near where we are now. But that being said, other players also have had huge impacts on this team, like a man named Cameron Maybin. Cameron Maybin, not today. He's not homered yet today, but he homered for today in 4 straight ball games. 4 straight. And in those ball games, in those 4 ball games that he has played in the first game where he homered, he was 1 for 4, so 1 hit there. Next ball game for Maybin, he had 2 hits, 2 for 5, home run. Monday's game against the Rays, Maybin was 3 for 3. So, and then Tuesday's game, Maybin was 3 for 4. He's a hitting machine right now. He really is. He's a hitting machine. Cameron Maybin even had even when he's not playing, he's very well liked in the clubhouse. He is one of the guys on this team who really makes a difference with the club and the ball players outside of the field of play. He's very well liked. I don't see why you wouldn't like him. He's very personable. He's very talkative, and he really has made a problem for the Yankees. I was asked a lot this week about how Maybin kind of throws a monkey wrench into the Yankees' problem because Aaron Judge is going to come back probably this week, the end of this week, but Friday or Saturday, or at the latest Sunday. So Judge will be back. And Maybin, who's played so well, probably, definitely, does not deserve to be demoted to AAA. Because he's out of options, so they'll have to release him. When they send him down, they'll have to get rid of him at some point because, there's no way that he's not going to get picked up by somebody. He's played too well. So, what do you do? Do you send out a pitcher like Cortez, who's pitched well, or David Hale, or even Luis Sessa, and keep Maybin? Now, at that point, you would only have 12 pitchers, I think, because the Yankees only have a 3-man bench. They have Romine. They would have Romine, Gardner, and Urshela. So that would be 3 plus the 9 they have in the field, makes 12. Do you want to carry 13 position players, 12 pitchers, or vice versa? Now, I'm okay with the Yankees carrying 12 pitchers. I'm okay with that because you have a dominant bullpen that can win you ball games. Outside, because a team that needs 13 relievers, or even the Rockies have 14 pitchers total on their team. A team that needs all those pitchers, in my opinion, is a team that really doesn't have any, well, not any, but doesn't have the amount of dominant pitching that we have. Our rotation is not the most dominant in baseball, but our bullpen is. And with arms like Britton, Ottavino, Chapman, Green. So we have the tools to only use 12 players and have Maben as that backup when Judge comes back because he's just played too well. You don't send a guy down like Maben right now for a few reasons. One, it messes with the clubhouse. Now, I know that these sabermetricians of the world will say clubhouse doesn't mean anything. The field of play is what matters. It's their BABIP, their whatever BABIP stands for. I think batting average of balls in play. Or their WAR, or their XFIP. I couldn't tell you what that is. I'm an old school guy. I really am. And I think everyone who's listening, I think you all know that. I think you know that. So, I'm an old school kind of guy. What I see is what I get. And Maben has played well. I see a good ball player in Maben. I see a guy who is out there every day, starting every day, and plays a great outfield. And plus, he gives you something that really don't have on this team, except from Brett Gardner, who doesn't really do it anymore. He can steal you a base. If you need a pinch runner in, say, the 7th, 8th inning, you need a base stolen or you need a guy who's going to score from first on a double, you put Maben in the game. He's not going to hurt you in the outfield. He's not going to hurt you at the plate. He's not going to hurt you on the bases. So Cameron Maben is definitely the kind of guy I want to have in my ball club. Because, I mean, he's not going to blow anybody away as far as his power numbers. Or any of his numbers is not going to stun you. But he's going to play good, solid baseball. And plus, what the lineup's probably going to be when everyone's healthy is Sanchez behind home plate, Voit at first, Glaber at second, Didi at short, LeMahieu at third, Stanton in left, Hicks in center, and Judge in right, and they're going to DH Encarnacion. Now that obviously means Gardner's going to lose his job, and he'll be a backup player, which I'm okay with. Gardner needs to be a backup player. He should not have been starting for the past 2 seasons. But it also means that you could spell Judge, who's coming off an oblique injury, in the 8th inning if we're winning by a few runs, and for defense. Or spell Stanton, who's not a great left fielder. And give them days. It gives them the option to rest these guys because, let's face it, Judge's oblique injury, it's essentially healed, but he's going to feel it in his side all year because an oblique is something you need an entire offseason to really rest for it to be 100% healthy. He can play now and be quote-unquote healthy where it's not going to hurt him or the team. But he's going to feel it. So to spell a Judge a little bit in the outfield is a very good thing to have. And I know you're going to say Gardner, but Maben is younger, he's faster, he's more power, even now. So Maben is definitely a guy you want to keep on this team. But with that, we got to talk about the guy who is causing the trouble with Maben, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is coming back and coming back very soon. Aaron Judge will be back on this team probably on, they said, I think Boone said Friday. Now, it could be Friday or Saturday. But, I mean, after seeing his injury, which happened in the middle of April, to say he's now back in the middle of June, I thought he'd be out after the break. Aaron Judge is a proud man. He's a very big man, obviously very imposing at 6'7", 282. He's not a man who really wants to show that he's hurting. He limped to first base. He was clutching his side, and he looked like he was in a lot of pain when he hurt his oblique. I was actually at the ball game. I was watching. I was at the game. It was a good ball game. They won, but it was in that stretch where everyone was going down. Everyone was getting hurt. So to see Judge writhing in pain like that was uncomfortable to watch. It bummed me out. Ruined my day. To quote Seinfeld.